Hi everyone, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to day one of Dephemerember. I am so excited. So I need to tell you that this morning I got up and the first thing I did is I checked YouTube, hoping that the video was on that would tell me what the prompt animal was going to be for today. Because I do work now and then for an estate sale company, and I was going in today, and I was so torn about the fact that I wasn't going to get to participate on day one. So I was hoping and hoping and hoping that the prompt one would be out early so that I could get a jump on it. And it wasn't. I must have checked my phone dozens of times. So that was okay. I decided that I would get my mason jar and my fluff ready. So for my mason jars, I collected a bunch of online images of mason jars, and then I fussy cut them out. So I knew I had my mason jars. And then I decided, what am I going to do for fluff? Now, I had no idea what animal it was going to be. And I was hoping upon hope that it was going to be the rabbit. So I had this idea that I would go out and walk my yard and see if I could find any fluff that I could get from nature, because I'm very inspired by nature. So I'm going to put in some video here about what I found. And here I am in my backyard. The little building to the right is my outdoor art studio, but it's way too cold to be in there this time of year. And it's a super windy day. That's why I don't have the background noise on, because the wind was whipping today. In fact, we lost power almost the whole night because of how bad the winds were last night. And we have a marsh, and I absolutely love in the morning coming out and watching how the cattails get lit up by the sun. And I noticed all the fluff flying around and all the fluff that was on the cattails. And I thought, there I go. Here's my inspiration. Look at it all in the air. It looks like it's snowing. It is not snowing. That is actually just cattail fluff. I love how they get lit up from the side. So I decided to go on our little boardwalk that my husband built probably about 10 years ago with my son. And it's seen better days. In fact, you'll see that I have to be very careful about where I step, because if I'm not looking, I might end up taking a header right off of the boardwalk and into the marsh. But here is where I am going to grab my fluff. This is the definition of fluff, and I love free craft supplies, and nature is supplying mine today. So I think I need to snag some of this for today's prompt. And as I'm snagging this, I'm thinking, oh, I hope rabbit is the animal of the day. This will make a wonderful cottontail. And now I'm just enjoying the morning. And before I go back into my craft room, I would like to show you how beautiful it is out here, even on a really cold December 1st day in New Hampshire. It can still be quite pretty. And that's my little senior dog, Honey. She's over 11 and not been having some good days lately, but this morning she's acting like a puppy. And this is Piper. She's another rescue of ours, and she's 6, and they are best of buds. And this is the other side of our boardwalk. And I know this isn't crafting, but I just thought, since this is an international challenge, I would share my little part of the world with you. And from the back of the marsh, this is what I see. I see the marsh, and you can see the road there, my art studio, and then to the left is my garden. So here it is. I got my fluff, and let's return to the craft room and get started. So now I have my fluff, and I have my mason jars, but I don't have my animal. I didn't have my animal, at least. So I ended up deciding that on my way to the job site today, I was going to stop by and get my snacks. So I need to get my snack. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. my snacks are probably not going to be very popular. In fact, I know they're not going to be popular because I don't, truth be told, really eat a lot of sugar, and I don't really snack on candy. So I tend to be drawn to candy that I had as a child. And, you know, back in the 60s and 70s in the United States, candy was a lot less exciting than it is now. We ate some weird stuff. And this is a New England company, Necco, and it's been around since 1847. And it made these things called Necco wafers, which I absolutely love. But I'm not even sure, even in my own country, if people even know what Necco wafers are in other parts of the country. And they're not usually that well loved, even though I love them and I got my kids to love them. So inside you'll see, and this is, God, I'm going to start on a bad note. Each little wafer is a different flavor, and the brown ones are chocolate, which are my favorite, and the yellow ones are banana, which are not my favorite. And it appears I have a roll that has chocolate, banana, banana, chocolate. So that's what I'm going to have today. There are other flavors, but I'll save them for another day. So I'm going to have my first Necco wafer. I'm going to tell you, they taste like my childhood, but most people don't run out and get them. They're kind of like, if you like the hearts on Valentine's Day, the Necco hearts, it's the same company and they taste the same as those Valentine's Day hearts. They're just in a little circle instead, but they're the same flavors. And that's the banana. Okay. I can't talk now because I'm chewing Necco wafers. Can you hear me crunching them? You're a bad influence, Miss Barbara. Bad, bad, bad. Okay. So, all day, I was hoping when I got back from work, there would be an animal that I could put Fluff on. In fact, I was hoping it was going to be the rabbit so that I could make a cottontail. And part of me thought, Fluff, would Barbara and Luise play a little trick on us and put the opposite of Fluff, the animal that's the most opposite of Fluff, which would be a hedgehog, which has prickles? No, they wouldn't do that to us. Of course they wouldn't do that to us. And then I got home and I saw that it was a hedgehog, and I had to laugh. Now, we do not have hedgehogs where I live. We have porcupines, which are probably the size of a very large cat, maybe a very small dog. And they have quills that are about this long. And my dogs like to tangle with them, and that's a whole story for another day. But they are not these cute little guys like this. So I have to somehow incorporate fuzz in a hedgehog. So I'm going to have a couple more of the Necco wafers, and I'm going to try to decide how I'm going to proceed. I printed off my cards in 2 different sizes, a big and a small. And I ended up fussy cutting out the small. And I think what I'm going to do is, one of the things I like to do is tell stories in my journal. And I think I'm going to tell a story about this little hedgehog. Now, Barbara told us a story in her video about the fact that when she was a child, hedgehogs used to get stuck in her grandmother's garden in the fountain. So that made me start thinking about, what if this little hedgehog was separated from his family and he was found by a child in a garden, and the child wanted to protect the hedgehog and decided to make the hedgehog a little house inside of a jar until he got big enough to protect himself. So I have all these mason jars, and I'm thinking, I'm kind of inspired to think about how mason jars are sometimes in garden sheds, and maybe in this child's garden shed, he has a mason jar, a bunch of mason jars. Why am I having a hard problem saying that? Because I have sugar on my tongue. And he wants this little guy to live inside. So I like how staggering them gives a little bit of dimension there. And I'm thinking I may put this together off the page and then put it together on the, and then transfer it to a page. So I'm going to take this piece of paper. It's just a ripped piece of paper that got stuck in my printer. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink the edges here. And ink them with probably broken china, just to kind of make, just to make the edges blend a little bit more. I was so excited today. I don't know about you guys, and I don't know if there's going to be a specific time every day that the videos are released, but I was like, come on. When I got up this morning and I was having coffee at 8, I thought for sure the videos would be released. So I was on pins and needles today. And the thing is, I could see that they had been, that they were there, because it says when I go to Barbara's playlist that there are videos that are not visible yet, but I knew they were not ready. I was just being impatient because I knew today I wasn't going to be available. This week is just such a busy week, and this, of course, I want to get a good start because it's only going to get busier, right? And I was like just jonesing because I couldn't. Okay, this is very white. I'm not sure I really want this mason jar to stay this white. So I don't know if I should maybe ink. I might take that broken china and just lightly make it a little bit blue. I have a lot of antique mason jars like this, and their glass, the glass is sort of a blue. So that would make sense. I fussy cut around and I just nicked that, but that's okay. I can fix that after. How are you guys doing today? Were you excited as well? I'm sure you were. I'm sure we all are. It's exciting to start something new and to be with friends, even if we're not in the same space. Knowing we're all doing the same thing is kind of fun. Okay, so that's a little bit more blue, which I like. And I have pumice stone. Oh, pumice stone isn't that gray. It's a little bit brown, but that's okay. Maybe I'll put a little bit on the jar too, just to give it a little bit more of a vintage feel. It's probably pretty subtle on the computer. I'm not computer, on the screen. It takes a really long time to edit, so I'm going to try to edit my videos to make them more succinct, but I don't know if today I'm going to get a chance to, only because I'm in such a time crunch. So now what I think I'll do, first of all, let me see how I want to stack them. I think I want to stack them like that, and since he's a baby, maybe he'll be right under like that. I'm going to do that one last, so let me do this one second. And I don't want to glue the whole mason jar because I'm staggering it, right? So probably just want to do that like that. This guy's going to be here. And then this one will be down here. As if they're on a garden, in a garden shed on a... Now I think I can't decide if I want to cut that out, but because if it's see-through, you would see the mason jar behind it. So let's see what happens if I cut that out. Now let's see if this is like that. We can see through to the mason jar behind, which would make sense because glass is see-through. I'm going to cut this just a little bit more. Just like that. And I really want this December challenge to be fun and lighthearted, and I don't want to overthink things. I'm sure some of these projects will take me longer, but I would like to think that each one won't take me a huge amount of time. We shall see. Okay, so I guess, where's my little hedgehog? I mean, I need to make sure that he can fit. And of course, we don't want the cover on because the little boy or the little girl, the child, is protecting the hedgehog and giving the hedgehog a place to live, not trying to capture the hedgehog. So I want that lid to probably just be, maybe I'll have it in the front here somewhere once we have a page. Maybe I want that little guy to stick off just a little bit. Yeah, I think I do. Okay, so let's just stick him on. And I like that mason is showing under there. I don't know if it'll show in the final product, but it will show here. Okay, I like the dimension of that. So now I need to find a page that this will fit on. I'm going to put my two elements right over there. And let's open the book and see what I can find here. And if you haven't seen how I made this quick journal, you can, I'll put the video link below. I'm just auditioning pages, trying to figure out where it would look the best. Oh, I like that blue, and I like that over there. Oh, and I like this down here. I think this is the page. Okay, so I like this little hole up here. I'm going to leave that there, and I don't want to glue it down 100%. I'm just going to tack it down with a little bit of glue to keep it in place while I figure the rest out. Okay, so I did a bunch of scraps with Luise's Jazz Up Your Scraps technique, and I like the idea of thinking about like maybe it is sitting on a table. So what would it look like if it had a little doily underneath it? That came across I guess this is a fancy garden shed, that it has an actual doily underneath. I like the dark behind it, almost like a night sky. And maybe it's nighttime and it's in the garden shed. Maybe this is right in front of a window. And our little guy is right in there. I like that. Okay, figure something out. Okay, so one of the reasons why I really like this book so much is because I can simply slide this out, take the book away, and work on the page like this. This here so that the light doesn't reflect. Okay. And because this is the cardstock, I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac to make sure it stays down. Okay, and then I want to put my see if we can move that up a little. Let's put on the doily under on the table. Maybe it's a table outside. Maybe it's outside the shed. I do decorate outside my shed, my garden shed. I like my garden to be pretty and decorated, so maybe this person does too. I'm going to trim that off. Okay, and now I'm going to put down the mason jars like it's on the table. And maybe I can just take the little piece that I trimmed off, if I can find it. Okay, I had to stop filming because I couldn't find my hedgehog. And I couldn't find this little piece, which I can just fill in back here. But I might put something over here, so I'm not going to worry about that yet. Okay, so now, well, maybe I will worry about it. What if I made a moon? It probably would not be too hard to make a moon. I could simply punch out something white like that, and then take my ink, and I can make a moon by, first of all, making some highlights like the moon has. Maybe add a little of that other color and add some darker areas. I don't know how moon-like that looks, but, and then I can take my ink pad. Oops. I have a watering can. Maybe put some splots on it. Is that moon-like? Let's find out. I think that looks moon-like. And it can come off the page. think I really did like the white splotch there. So I'm going to have some of that show. And then I'll have my cans, my mason jars, go a little bit in front of it. I think I need to definitely darken those edges up. And I can glue this down like that. Put him on the table, put the mason jars on the table. I got to make sure this hooks back in, because I did ding it and it came apart. Glue this down everywhere. Okay. And then what I think I might do is get my white jelly pen maybe just kind of go around it a little bit. Just to give it a little definition. Okay. Now, let's see what we're going to do with our little hedgehog that's going to be living inside of here. This is where the fluff is going to come in. I think the little boy or the little girl, I keep saying little boy, I think because I have boys, that's just my default. But let's just say the child wants to make a really cozy little place for that hedgehog to live. So he's going to put in some very fuzzy bedding for our little hedgehog. And I'm going to probably have cattail fuzz now all over my workroom. It seemed like a good idea at the time. All right, and then I think I want him kind of on top, but he still needs to look like he's in the mason jar. What if he was half in and half out? What if he was peeking out? How would that look? Let's slide him in and see. Well, it does make it look a little bit more 3D with him sticking out, but I think I would have had to move them this way a little bit. I think it's okay that he's just in the center. I don't know. What do you guys think? In or out? Should he be in or out? Like I said, I think it just makes him look a little bit more it looks a little bit more 3D with him poking his head out. And I do like that. So let's put a little bit more fuzz down against my better judgment. Barbara, you couldn't pick a bunny rabbit? Luise? Eek. It would have been such a great little bunny tail. That's okay. That's all right. I'm sure this won't be the first juxtaposition with an animal. Okay. So the fuzzy, we got to make sure that sticks out, and let's make sure he's stuck on. Fuzzy is in his bedding. And now we got to stick the rest of him down and the jar. Okay. Now, what else do I want to add to this? Well, I need the lid to be off the jar. And you can see, maybe you can see fuzz flying around my workspace. It'll be, see, yeah, one of my better ideas, obviously. That's okay. And I think what I want to do, all right, I got to make sure. Oh my gosh, it's flying everywhere. I don't know if you can see it. This is worse than working with dandelion seeds. Oh my gosh, I need another Necco. All right. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Okay, one of the things I want to do is I want to include the number. So let me feed this little tag underneath and through the mason jar. So it hangs down. And I want to, I'm going to need to put a little scrap piece underneath. I don't want this to be like, I don't want that to be that white. Okay, let's get some, get some of that. Let's get some of this ink. Am I crazy to do this on? I should have done the tag first. I know. I should have done the tag first. And I'm just trying to get some of the, trying to make the tag more interesting, less white. It might flip over, so I need to make sure both sides are done. And whichever side is the more interesting is the one I will put the number on. Now, of course, this needs to dry. And I suppose I should make sure that the string isn't so white either. Okay. I think I've only used these a couple of times. So I want to use the number. Oh, this one right here is all in one. This one says number 1. This one's perfect. Like that. And I might just do the edge a little. Make it a little grungier. And of course, it falls off of that, because why wouldn't it, right? That's okay. don't you hate when you think you're like almost done and then you do something and then you're like, please don't let it be ruined. Okay, so number 1 is hanging down there. And let's see what else we can add on here. I think I want to take that. I think I would like to get some stitching in here and make this just a little bit more interesting. Maybe, yeah. So I added some wonky stitching, and I did that because I just like having a little more edge. I put some around the moon. Now, the moon can't stay, right? Can it? Maybe it can. I don't know. We're going to have to see. I'm going to cut the strings a little bit. And then I think I want to make some black. A little bit of drama here, little highlights. Around the bottles. Little shadow underneath the bottle. Give it a little bit of a three-dimensional look. Just going to add a little bit of highlights or a little contrast on these bottles, just to make them seem less like clip art and more like a real bottle, a real mason jar. I'm going to add a little bit of water to it. Just to move that color around a little bit. I think that helps. And last but not least, I like the little hedgehog label that Luise gave us. And I think I want to put it on some kind of a high contrast background. I've been holding on to this little piece of paper for so long because I think it's so cute. I don't know what it was from, but I really like the design. I like the idea of having this somewhere on the page. I think I like it on the moon. And this is my little baby hedgehog who's in the garden shed being protected by a child until he is old enough. and it is prompt number 1, the hedgehog. So the last thing is putting it in my journal. And now, all I simply do is slide this back into my journal, and there I have it. There is my first prompt. Finished. Number 1 is in the books. Now the question is, will the moon stay closed? The moon does. It comes up over the edge, but maybe that will be the fun on whichever page it's on the back right here. I have some stitching and everything, so there it is. Prompt number 1. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I can't wait to watch your videos and see how you interpreted this challenge. It's totally fun. I can't wait for number 2. Thank you, Luise and Barbara, and I hope you guys liked what I did. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.